So this is going to be the largest power panel we have ever done. So Manasa, kudos to you. Before we go into the panel, I want to ask all of you is, what do you want to learn today from JPMorgan Chase? Take a moment and put it in the chat. What do you want to learn from the JPMorgan Chase leaders who are going to be coming on the stage? And I would like to take a moment to introduce Manasa Hari. So she's amazing individual and a leader. I got to know her probably a couple of years ago through Monika. So very fortunate to know. So I want to really take a moment to introduce her, and she really heads the product management at JPMorgan Chase, which is all about big data systems and platforms. So prior to the JPMorgan Chase, she headed the product management for the advanced analytics solution for cloud and enterprise customers of Teradata. And Teradata is also one of our Fortune brands who are part of it, which is pretty fascinating and amazing. So Manasa is a thought leader, and also she has demonstrated history of working in the information technology and services industry. Outside of work, Manasa is passionate about diversity in project management and also actively participates in speaking at Women of Silicon Valley and several panel discussions related to the technical product management. So Manasa is on advisory board of big data certification programs for San Francisco State and also Cal State East Bay to support education curriculum for data and analytics space. So in her free time, she loves to spend her time with her family and loves painting. And thank you, Manasa, for leading this partnership with Monika and us to really create a world that is inclusive and making the tech accessible for everyone. So let's give a big round of applause for Manasa. Come on over. Are you excited to be here leading the biggest and the largest panel that we have ever done?
So first of all, Chai, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the entire JPMorgan family to thank you to giving us a platform to enhance JPMorgan and also attract a lot of talent for us as we are going into this year of digital transformation. So it's an honor for me to actually moderate the panel discussion today. I know we have a very great lineup of leaders from JPMorgan joining us today. And to your point, we're going to cover a breadth of topics and understand from them their perspectives on these topics as well. So thank you for the warm introduction. It is kind of you.
Awesome. And Manasa, we have a lot of chat if you see what people are looking for. So as a panelist, please, the text is there and the content is there. So with that, I'm going to go off the stage. Take it over, Manasa.
Awesome. Thank you, Chai. Hello, everybody. I'm honored to actually moderate a panel discussion today. We're going to be bringing leaders across JPMorgan to speak about the great culture of respect JPMorgan has and how we are looking at the improvements in the technology landscape, the hiring at JPMorgan, navigating through JPMorgan and all the business transformation aspects. So today's topics that we're going to be covering will help our audience, all the listeners, to understand JPMorgan better, and it'll also get you guys excited to speak about us and with us about the opportunities in one of the most respected banks in the world. So we can't wait to get started, and I would like to invite Monika Panpaliya on the stage. Monika is one of our most respected leaders. She heads the Global Technology Product and Agility Office. She's instrumental in leading the product operational model, strategy, and execution at JPMorgan. So, hi, Monika. Thanks for joining. So, Monika, since you're here, we are starting our discussion with you, with the panel. I want to make it a little bit of fun conversation, and I'd like to ask you an icebreaker question. And what I want to ask you about is tell us all something that you believed earlier in your career, and as you moved on in your career, how do you think about it differently right now?
Yeah, thanks, Manasa, and hello to all of my women in cloud friends. From a career standpoint, what my younger self would have thought is that I needed to have all the answers all the time. Maybe that's the engineer in us, but I think what I've learned over the years is it's actually good to be authentic and vulnerable and lean on the team. So today, Manasa, I may not have all the answers to your questions, but we'll lean on the team here.
No, Monika, that's great. I think as any employee or any human, I think being authentic and vulnerable, are the core values that we should all imbibe. So thanks for those nuggets there. So coming to talk about JP Morgan and why we are here, we would love to hear from you and learn from you about JP Morgan's company culture. How are we fostering growth, inclusion, and belonging with the company? So any insights you would share would be really helpful for us.
Yeah, I've been with the company since 2020, so about 2 years. And what I've been struck by is the foundation that we have. It's 200 plus years of phenomenal history and innovation in the financial services industry. We serve nearly half of America's households and manage a third of the world's wealth. That's about $500 billion in market cap. But we are not complacent. We want to remain the market leader. We want to maintain that position in the industry and want to make sure that the technology rate of change that we have right now, we are keeping at pace with that. So when I think about growth, Manasa, we are reinventing our operating model, and that's the product operating model and the transformation that I've had the fortune of leading. And we are transforming the ways that we work so that this is a culture of innovation and we can capitalize on that and build world-class capabilities, whether it's for our clients or whether it's for our consumers or our communities at large.
That's awesome, Monika. I think we are all very excited about the chapter that you're leading in terms of product operationalization. I think having the product mindset is very critical for organizations to move forward. I think we're also focused on imbibing data culture also throughout the company, which is very exciting for us to see you lead as well. So thank you for this information. Yeah.
Thank you, Manasa.
Awesome. So with that, we would now like to invite Lauren Goodwin onto the stage, please. Lauren Goodwin is Chief Technology Officer of Corporate Technology, and her responsibility is with Morgan Health. In this role, she leads a team of technologists committed to JP Morgan's goals for social, environmental, and healthcare equity and sustainability needs. So, Lauren, I know that's a great charter that you have and responsibility that you have for JP Morgan. Very exciting to have you on the stage right now. So I have a similar question that I had with Monika as well to start with as an icebreaker, and then we will dive deep into the question about JP Morgan that I have for you. So tell us all something about what you believed in your career, earlier in your career, and think of it differently right now.
Sure. First, I just want to say thank you again for helping organize such a wonderful event. I feel very privileged to be here with everyone. I think it was hard to go back early in my career. So I think I'll probably have a similar story that most of us have, in that early on in our careers, we're asked things like, pick a role, or what title do you want to work towards? And early in my career, I really questioned myself because I never wanted to do this exercise. I never felt that I should limit myself to being one thing or doing one thing in my life or my career. Now, fast forward, I found that committing to not being confined to a box and rather making my decisions about my experiences and the impact I can make has made all the difference in my career and in my personal life. So I guess I can say defining my career not by what I wanted to be, but rather who I wanted to be has been a differentiator for me between my early days of my career and now.
Lauren, that's amazing. It's very inspiring the way you put it, not getting boxed and, just also thinking outside the box as well. I think for a lot of listeners right now, it's a great nugget that, they can take away in their career journey as well. So, Lauren, one question I have for you today is, so now that we're slowly returning back to normalcy after, the effects of the global pandemic, the way, that we have worked over the last 2 years, has changed dynamically. So and at JP Morgan, we are continuing to make this company where our employees, customers, clients, and communities can be very proud of. So what we would love to hear from you is how does a day in a life for an employee look like in JP Morgan? Like, what does it feel like? What kind of success and growth can they see at JP Morgan? And what kind of behaviors and skills would you be able to share that is appreciated and recognized?
Sure, that's a really great question. I think one of the best things is my voice is just one of many. You've heard lots of numbers that my colleagues have shared today. So while I'm happy to share my experiences, but every team member here at JP Morgan has a very different and unique experience in and outside of our company, which I think is one of our greatest assets. So from my perspective, I did come to the firm 2 years ago leading a security architecture function. And I have recently been able to move into a CTO role. And I'm really grateful to be in and have this opportunity because we've grown an incredible team of engineers, security architects, data scientists, and various other roles focused on solving some of the most significant areas in the world, like climate change, social justice, and quality and equitable healthcare. Our team may be working on a climate change problem in one session in the morning. By the afternoon, we've pivoted into growing our new healthcare company inside JP Morgan. So we are using things like geospatial technology, AI, ML, natural language processing to quite literally change the world for the better. So outside of JP Morgan, here at JP Morgan, I'm also a proud mom and a wife. So I'm able to balance between my role here at JP Morgan while also serving in these important aspects of my personal life. And then I'm also pursuing my doctorate. And JP Morgan has enabled me to pursue my education while still having these opportunities in the company. And my focus is on helping change the education system, leveraging neuroscience and AI. So like I said earlier on, I don't like being confined to a box, and I like to be more than just one thing. And JP Morgan's culture has enabled me to do that in my career and in my life.
Wow. So Lauren, that's extremely impressive. And I can also vouch towards that, being a mom of 2 boys. So having a good work-life balance is very critical. And, like you said, JP Morgan completely, takes care of that work-life balance. And, we're enjoying working in the company. And to your point, working alongside and studying as well, it's completely an amazing career journey that you've got. Thanks for sharing all the insights and nuggets. Yes, awesome. So with that, I would like to call our next panelists here. So we'd like to invite Kanti Shrestha onto the stage. So Kanti is our head of enterprise technology communications. In her role, she leads executive communications and strategy, employee engagement for the chief technology office, as well as channel management for key programs, including product transformation, cybersecurity awareness, and more. So Kanti, thank you so much for taking your time and being with us today and sharing your experiences. So I have a similar question for you as well. So what was that you believed earlier in your career that you think of differently now?
First of all, thank you so much, Manasa. And it's been, again, so honored to be sharing the stage with our esteemed colleagues from JPMorgan Chase. And thank you for including me. So I was thinking about this question, and I think, when I first started my career in financial services industry, which is now more than 12, 13 years ago, I was under the assumption, at least the environment that I was in at the time, that I couldn't be myself at work, that I had to be someone else to fit in and to progress in my career. And initially I tried. I probably failed miserably. And I'm so grateful that I did fail, right? Because we spend most of our waking hours either working or at work. And if you cannot be yourself, then you don't really enjoy your work. And I think that actually would have the reverse impact on your career progression. So I'd say, again, and everything everyone has already talked about so far from JP Morgan, obviously, we all bring our whole selves to work. And so I'd encourage everyone to just do that.
Awesome, Kanti. Those are great insights, and it's great to hear everybody's career journey. And one thing that I'm finding as a pattern is, JP loves the culture of being your authentic self. I think that is something that I'm hearing from all the panelists. So thanks for sharing that. So as the question for you I have is, as we are striving to be the best and the most respected bank in the world, so our firm's business principles, it guides our actions, and it helps strengthen our diverse culture of respect, equity, inclusion. So I was wondering if you can help us understand on how the firm helps us collectively, build a great team and a winning culture for JP Morgan.
Oh, that's a great question. So, I cannot beat Stephen in terms of tenure at JPMorgan Chase, but I have been with the firm now for a little over 6 years. I have been in the capacity of supporting global technology organization in various capacities. And I was thinking about this, and again, there are some bad days. Everyone has bad days at work, but most days of the week, I think, I remain as motivated and inspired to be here about the work and about the company as I was my first month and my first year, right? And that has a lot to do. Obviously, the work is exciting. The change of the rapid transformation journey that global technology is on is very exciting. But beyond that, it is the people, it is the culture, it is the team, it is the firm-wide and technology leadership. One thing that stands out for me about this company, even after again being here as long as I have, is the firm's leadership and the technology leadership. They don't just talk the talk, but they walk the walk, right? Whether it's, again, I think regardless of sorry about the city noise. Again, regardless of where you are geographically based or what your corporate level is, all subject matter experts, all employees are encouraged to share their perspectives, do the work. They're trusted. The leadership here does spend quite a bit of time spending, again, time with employees at different levels of the organization, in person, virtually, informal and informal settings. So there is that really sense of community that we have. I think Monika touched on this as well earlier. From an innovation perspective, we have a culture, and again, just tons of opportunities for employees to collaborate, to come up with business solutions through things like hackathons and tech center events and innovation week. And again, we also, building a network is obviously instrumental to anyone's career, and we have tons of opportunities for employee to build and be part of communities of practice, right? And in addition, I think the winning culture, like I said, comes with team. And you heard Abella, you heard Stephen, and then you heard everyone talk about the focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion that we have at the firm. And I can selfishly say, again, I'm biased, but I think my team is the best team. But it's also represents, when I look at my team, we represent diversity of all forms, whether it's ethnicity, geography, age, professional backgrounds. We have someone that was an actress in her prior career. We have former journalists, we have former technologists. So it's just that diversity and that acceptance of diverse thoughts is what makes us stronger as a company, and again, helps us continue to deliver bigger and better and faster for our customers, clients.
Kanti, it's so beautifully put. I think, you covered a lot of aspects, on how, different cultures, different, inclusivity is met at JP Morgan, and also how the leadership actually, it's not just a talk, they're actually actioning upon, a lot of their, the things that they actually mean. So it is a huge deal, when we're looking at an organization at the scale, progressing. And even in pandemic, being 2 years old in JP Morgan, I can attest that everything that you said was never stopped during pandemic, and everything was virtual, and we were still driving a lot of these events and a lot of these hiring and a lot of the inclusivity concepts as well. So it's totally inspiring. Yes.
Absolutely. And we're not scared to have the difficult conversations. I think we've created forums for employees to be open, bring themselves, whether it's conversations about racial tensions or anything difficult going on in the world. So that level of transparency, I feel like, is fairly unique to an institution of this size. But
Yeah, no, it's greatly put. Thank you so much for the insights.
thank you.
Thanks for your time. So as next, we would like to invite our leaders who are looking into the tech modernization landscape, and we would love to understand from them, how this digital modernization is evolving in JPMorgan 2022. I would like to invite Sarita Bakst onto the stage. So Sarita is Head of Information Architecture for the firm-wide data management and governance solutions for finance, risk, data, and controls. And she's instrumental in defining the data reliability, privacy, use, and regulatory needs and insights for the whole firm as we build new technology solutions. So as we are looking at a lot of other impactful organizations like Facebook or any other organization dealing with a lot of data governance, so the bank actually is on the forefront for a lot of these regulatory concerns, and Sarita is instrumental and integral part of the decision making for the data governance. So Sarita, thank you so much for taking time. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for
And,
having me here.
It's definitely we're fortunate that you've joined us. And the same question to you. So tell us something about something you believed earlier in your career, and how do you think of it differently right now?
Oh gosh, there were so many things that I've learned throughout my career, but if I have to pick one, I started off coming out of college thinking that in order for me to get ahead, I have to win and beat others at the game of work. And, thinking about it as a zero-sum game, I win, you lose, and that's how I will get ahead at your expense. And of course, that is entirely untrue. And what I've learned throughout my career, and especially in working with the esteemed panelists here and at the firm, it's that we cheer each other on, we help each other succeed, and through helping each other and getting ahead, we ourselves as individuals will also succeed. But we're all in this together, and we're all working towards a common goal, and through that our careers will grow.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's actually very, very inspiring, Sarita, because I think it takes a village to actually, build a team, a successful project, a successful team, and, evolve in the company strategy as well. So thank you for championing that. Now, coming to JP Morgan, we wanted to ask you to get your insights. So JP is hiring a lot of, cloud-focused jobs. We have a lot of openings today that we are seeing. And one of the key trends in cloud data management we are seeing today is a huge emphasis on data governance and observability. So being a leader in firm-wide data governance space, I wonder if you could share some thoughts with us on what are the skills that the listeners, the aspirants should be focusing on to work in a regulated company such as JP Morgan.
Sure, and data, like our careers, takes a village. And there are so many different profiles of people that participate in managing and governing our data. There are the technologists that are building the capabilities to ingest, transform, manage, oversee the data. There are information architects that help us describe that data. There are the CDOs or data stewards that impose and are responsible for a lot of the data management governance. And of course, there are business subject matter experts that understand the very nuanced scope of pieces of data that they either create or need. And what's common to all of those profiles are an understanding of how to deconstruct larger problems, larger content into their components, and really think about those chunks. And in this case, data, but it's all kind of consistent with technology design or other business practices. But with respect specifically to data, it's harnessing data as a product that is reusable in different contexts. It's understanding that we have a value proposition to that data. We can create a marketplace to deliver that business value. But on the other side, there's the responsibilities that we have. We have responsibilities to our clients. We have a lot of client data here at the firm. We have responsibilities to ourselves internally, where we have firm-wide information. And we have responsibilities to our regulators and the governments that have laws to protect people and institutions and their data. We have the responsibility to behave legally and ethically. We don't want to be on the cover of the newspaper for doing anything wrong, and we don't want to do anything wrong that would be ethically irresponsible. So that is how I think about, the value and the governance of our data.
Awesome. So Sarita, your suggestion is for people who are looking, hearing you today, is that they should be looking at a broader spectrum of the personas who are going to be impacted with the data, and also, also learning and, having that, learning attitude to understand, what a regulatory company like JPMorgan would be looking
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, we have a number of openings that are posted in our career site. There isn't a single profile that everybody should be confined into, like Lauren said, right? There's not one single role, but rather there's a wealth of different profiles that work together to both harness that power of the data and govern and control it.
Awesome. So this is a great insight, Sarita. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we'd love to call on our next panelist from here, and we'd like to bring Thulasi Kethini onto the stage, please. Thulasi is head of software engineering in Commercial Bank, and she's instrumental in leading engineering best practices as we are looking to enable data and analytics solution at scale. So we can have her. So Thulasi, I'm hoping you're on stage. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. So hey Thulasi, thanks for joining. And it's the same question I have for you. So tell me something about something you believed early in your career, and how did it change, and how do you think of it differently now?
Hey Manasa, first I'd like to thank you for helping organize this event. Very glad to be here. So earlier in my career, I very strongly believed that the only thing that mattered for my growth or success was my technical skills, and nothing else really mattered or was important. While there is really no substitute for technical skills, I've come to realize that in building software products, the most important skill is communication skills. It's just as important as technical skills, if not more. On a day-to-day basis, your stakeholders, with your customers, with your peers. So building software products is really like a team sport, and you can't be successful and have fun in this team sport if you can't communicate and know when to pass the ball. So
awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you learn along in your career journey as you progress. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So as you're leading the technology space, Thulasi, so we're seeing the need of the modernization of the software, the systems architecture, and it's become imperative for the digital transformation. So to be able to create a successful transformation at scale, we are eagerly looking for diverse talent to join us in this journey. So as an engineering manager and leader, what are your thoughts of hiring diverse talent, and your advice for the candidates who are looking for jobs at JPMorgan?
Yeah, at Chase, we are building products for a diverse set of communities and consumers, right? As such, it's very imperative for us that the teams building these products reflect the communities and the customers we serve. You can build a great product without the ability to empathize with your customer. So a diverse team from varying backgrounds, from varying cultures, can actually bring in different perspective, and that becomes key to the success of the product and the company, essentially. So it's like somebody else had mentioned previously, it's just not the right thing to do. It is a competitive advantage for us to be able to do it well. The advice I would give candidates is, do not be intimidated by all the qualifications and skills that are listed on a job description, right? Research has shown again and again that a large percentage of women do not apply for jobs unless they think they have all the skills listed in a job posting. We are not looking for candidates with all the skills all the time. We are looking for good software engineers who are willing to learn and are driven to grow. So also know that I would like our participants to know that Chase spends enormous amounts of time, money, and resources towards coaching and training all their employees. So as a manager who's hiring, I would be more interested in someone with a drive and the mental agility to learn new things versus someone who can check a bunch of boxes today but has a hard time adapting. So if you're interested in a job, please go ahead and apply. Don't let the list of skill sets stop you.
It's amazing that you said that, Thulasi. I think I'm sure that a lot of people would be interested to network with you and understand perspectives. I think that's beautifully put. You're right. I think a lot of people hesitate to apply to job reading at the enormous descriptions that we usually have. So I think it would be great to work with a leader like yourself, who is open to actually accepting a holistic, candidate with different varied skill and diverse talent as well. Thanks for sharing all the insights.
Thank you.
And thanks for taking time to speak with us. So now we'd like to invite Arup Nanda onto the stage. Arup is the chief architect of JPMorgan Enterprise Cloud Data Ecosystem, and he's also the leader of foundational engineering systems. Arup has been a great ally to women in tech, and he's instrumental in bringing the architecture and the engineering awareness to the whole firm. Hey, Arup, thanks for joining us. And I have the same question for you as I'm asking all the other panelists today. So we would love to know a little bit about you and your career journey. So tell us something about you believed earlier in your career and think of it differently right now.
Hi, Manasa. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here. It's an honor and privilege to be here today. And so in terms of what I learned from my beginning of my career, my core values haven't changed much. Nothing significantly has become different, and which I did not know before. If I could just crystallize on only one thing, which I wish I knew before, is that in the beginning of my career, I thought I had to be right in whatever I say. And I realized much later towards the end is that it's not important to be just right. It's important to be effective. And that takes a lot of variables. Being right is just one of them, and definitely not in the totem pole. Trust is the number one thing in that totem pole. So it's super important to develop a trust, influence, etc. Of course, being right helps, but that's not the only thing. And it's what's paramount important in that to be successful as a leader is that to be successful and to be actually effective in what you're doing.
Awesome. That's a great learning, Arup. Thanks for sharing that with us. So regarding, as we build large-scale enterprise architecture, Arup, and this is, JPMorgan is an enormously, complex organization. So, and you have been pivotal in working across, the JPMorgan board and organization to enable a true data management platform. So as we are looking to build, talent for cloud native services, and as we heard, we have over 4,000 plus jobs open in this domain. What are the types of jobs that we have open in the cloud, data, AI, ML platform spaces? Who are the candidates that we are seeking, and what do hiring managers exactly look for in the interview process itself?
So first of all, we have to understand that our company, JPMC, is just not a banking company. And we are a 130-year-old company. Obviously, we have banks, we have investment banking, as well as portfolio management, etc. But most people probably do not know this, or maybe do not realize that we are actually an extremely big technology company as well. For example, we have a blockchain platform called Onyx that is world's first in developing the blockchain-based value transactions. That is something probably people didn't realize that we actually have it. We also have, we are a pioneer in quantum computing. Again, most people don't realize that we are in the pioneer of quantum computing in that, which sounds like a very academic exercise, but we're actually trying to apply that into our technology practices as well. And of course, as most people talked about in the morning, is that the data itself is a lifeblood of our company, but who produces the data, who cleanses it, who checks the quality of it, who makes sure that it's actually stitched together, who uses it to create machine learning products, etc. And a significant part of it goes into everything about management, technology management, not just the data management itself. Of course, I'm a little bit partial towards data management because I'm in that area. But if you look at it, we have multiple kinds of skill sets, everything from AI, ML research to quantum computing to the blockchains to data management in the cloud space, etc. For a 130-year-old, we are pretty cool that way. And so I would encourage you that if you have any kind of skill set, it's very likely that we have a need of it. And actually, we have more than 4,000 jobs. We have actually more than, I mean, if you include non-technology jobs, we have way more than that. And most of the jobs are not necessarily binary. It's not necessarily technology or non-technology. It could be just all of them. So regardless of your background, we have everything from mainframe database, mainframe systems, all the way to, as I mentioned to you, quantum computing. So please take a look at it. And most of you will probably realize that you have a career opportunity at this point to grow into the next level. And this is probably the one you'll be wishing for. And I would like to conclude with one thing. Why JP Morgan? Why not everything else? Our firm is going to spend upwards of $12 billion. And let me just pause for a second here and stress on the word $12 billion in technology alone in this year. That's like a GDP of some countries and probably a gross revenue of many Fortune 100 companies as well. So just imagine that thing. So we are not in here for the short term. We are here for the long term. We have the financial muscle to put behind it, go for the kill toward the end of it as well. So having a career, leading something, putting something to your name, seeing it to the completion, we can provide that platform for you. And if you have the passion, the drive, and the right kind of attitude, here is the place to be successful. And with everything else we want to accomplish, it is extremely vital that we bring this passion and all together. So if you want to build something, come build for us, with us.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Arup. I mean, those are spot on insights. And I think for the listeners, it is actually a great opportunity to hear on, how much of investment is actually put into technology landscape today, and how serious we are into this whole digital transformation journey that we are embarking right now. So thanks, for encouraging, the listeners, and I'm sure that they have gotten a lot of information. I'm sure that they're going to network and learn more from yourself as well. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now we would now look into how JP Morgan is transforming into a product-driven company and how we're looking to do business development. I would like to invite Zubair Quazi on the stage, please. Zubair is head of technology futures. He's head of customer success for core development. He's instrumental to conduct research on industry top trends, DevOps. He conducts extensive POCs and also takes care of customer success through improving developer experience and productivity platforms. So hey, Zubair, thanks for taking time to join us today. Wondering, if you can tell us something about yourself as well. What did you believe earlier in your career and think of it differently right now?
Yeah, sure thing. I'm about 6 months old into the farm, so kind of a newbie. But in terms of career, when I started as a developer, I wanted to learn everything. I just wanted to know everything, and that definitely, gave me a learning that scaling yourself is probably one of the key aspects that you need to learn as you grow in your career. And as I moved into the management, I also learned to see that a lot of people have talked about this, that you cannot be everywhere. You cannot just have the technology skills or just the management skills, right? So management and leadership gets you into an art and a science, mix of art and a science. And I had great mentors. That's what I believe in, that you need to have mentors. But the biggest learning that I have sort of learned is that, empowering others, and you should have empathy as you grow. So it should be a part of your daily aspect all the time.
Thanks, Zubair. I think it's a great point. Empathy is very critical no matter which role you are in and which job you're actually taking. So thanks for those insights. Great learning. So tell us, in your 6 months journey as an organization, we are evaluating different technologies and solutions. So we're trying to accelerate modernization journey. So any insights you could share with us today? What are the areas that we're looking in terms of evaluation and adoption process that you can share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, let me see if I can, and how much I can share about which areas we're looking into. But, just as you mentioned, that our goal is to increase the overall developers' productivity, and that will eventually help us get into this modernization goal that the firm has, right? So as we analyze these different processes and tools, one of the most important thing is that, we need to understand is something that we can build or we should buy. Should we go for the bleeding edge technology, or we should just stick to what is right for us? And as we go through this process, we also see that it's the right investment for our business or not, right? So as we are actually morphing into say, okay, you know what, this is an organization that should be looking into this, and this is the right solution for the company, and this actually fits into the technology aspect that we are looking into. But we also need to look into the security aspect, the maturity of the technology, and importantly, whether it can scale for a company of our size or not, right? So everybody talked about, we have around like 55,000 plus technologies in the farm. How effectively and quickly we can actually roll out something. And as we roll this out, whether the farm will actually get the benefit out of this in the short term or in the long term. So a lot of aspects we look into and try them out and do the POCs. And one of the key aspects of the POC is that we partner with the LOBs to be part of the POC as we work with the outside vendors, or even if you are building internally. So for folks that are listening in and thinking about different opportunities that actually JPMorgan offers, and I'm going to piggyback on what Anup was saying, that it's a technology company. There's so much work that's going on, and the sheer size of the company and the complexity it has, it gives you an immense opportunity to learn, innovate, and have a greater impact in your career and for the farm.
Awesome. Thanks, Zubair. That's great insights. So thanks for taking time to speak with us today. So at this point in time, we want to bring our bring back Monika Panpaliya back to the stage again. So Monika, we have covered today a lot of topics around, navigating JPMorgan, the culture, doing business with with Zubair coming in and sharing insights. Allyship, Stephen spoke a lot about that. Technology landscape, control of data, which Sarita spoke about. So while I'm thinking about wrapping this panel discussion, I'd like to ask you about how companies are invited to develop innovation, and why would we look for women-led owned companies and such?
Yeah, I think it's a great wrap up. Innovation comes from everywhere. And what I pride ourselves in is looking for the diversity and having the DNA for innovation. Women-led companies is something really important to us. We have a global supplier diversity program. We spend about 2.5 billion a year on businesses that are owned by minorities. So let's make sure that we are providing that access. And I do believe that this is such a great engagement. So when a company like JPMorgan Chase that has the aspirations to continue to be the number one in financial services can partner with Women in Cloud, where again you have similar goals to create $1 billion of access for women, we can really make magic happen. So do connect with us on the global supplier diversity piece. And the last thing I'll say is I have been really struck in the last year and a half that I've been here with the quality of leadership and the different industries that everybody's coming from, whether it's healthcare or tech, banking or aerospace. And so there's definitely an innovation spirit and a sense of inclusion here. Manasa, thoroughly enjoyed the panel. I'll turn it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Monika. Thanks so much for sharing those insights. And I would like to thank all the speakers, along with Monika yourself, who joined us today, for taking time to provide us guidance, insights, and help us understand more about working at JPMorgan. And I'd like to thank Chai again to provide us the platform to discuss our thoughts and perspectives, and helping the audience understand why we have an amazing winning culture, as Kanti put it, in JPMorgan, and how we strongly encourage everybody in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusive philosophies. So I would like to hand it over to Chai. Back to you, and I will probably, segue into the next session.
Mansa, I want you to stay for a couple of seconds with me. First is, let's give a big round of applause for her. This was the largest panel anyone has moderated. I want everyone to show the love to you because it was not easy, because we had a time cap. We had everybody to really tell the real nuggets that each one of us can engage with JPMorgan Chase. There were a couple. So thank you for doing that. We really, really appreciate what you did today.
No,
So
thank you,
you
Sai.
are a pro and you did really well. So thank you for being here today. So there are a couple of things I also learned is, the thing that really struck my mind as I was listening is the Warren Buffett's, principle of how people need to show up on when you're hiring or when you're working is 3 I's. One is high integrity. If you have that, you can build high trust. Second is intelligence. You need intelligence to build some really cool innovation, and JPMorgan Chase has that ecosystem. And third is that you can take initiative to create some amazing stuff. If you have all those 3, then this is the company for you. So that would be my plug for all of you. If you're thinking about working with JPMorgan Chase, have the 3 I's and you are good to go. Do you agree with that, Mansa?
100%, Chai. Absolutely. Would love for, anybody who's listening in, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to speak with you, answer all the questions you may have. And, looking forward to understanding, what are your career objectives and, how we can help you in the journey as well. So
Awesome.
Again, Chai, thanks for the opportunity for all of us. And I'd like to thank the JPMorgan family as well to join us, taking time off the busy schedule to come with us.
Awesome. Thank you.